I have a 2004 Mercury Outboard. It's 2.5 horsepower, and it is a two-stroke model. The last year that they made two-stroke models was the year after that, 2005. So this is the end of the dinosaurs here. But there's a lot of good things to be said about two-strokes because they're lighter. This motor only weighs about 28 pounds, and when they came out with the four-stroke motor, it weighed 10 pounds more at 38 pounds. So there's a big advantage to having the extra weight reduction of one of these older motors because of the fact that you're putting it on a pretty small boat anyway where weight is important. So I've had this hanging on my wall for about 2 years now, and I'm about to take it down and start it. It's a 2004, and the last time it was run was in 2004. Nobody's used it since then or done any maintenance on it. So I've ordered a water pump impeller, and I'm going to change the oil in the lower unit to make sure it's all fresh down there. But I am going to start it today before I get all that stuff to see if I can get this motor to run, which hasn't run in more than 15, probably almost 16 years. It's in perfect condition. Everything looks new about it, even when you take off the engine cowling. It looks like a brand new motor, but it hasn't run in 15 years. I think it's going to run, but we're about to find out. Let me take it down off the wall. Alright, since I'm not a mechanic, it took me a few minutes to figure out how to do this. I was trying to gain access to the spark plug, which is facing the back of the motor. Took me a couple minutes to figure out that that's where it was, even though I knew that's where it was supposed to be. There's this little panel right here that was a little bit challenging to get off, but I figured it out. There are 4 screws underneath here. There's 2 right there, and then there's another 2 inside this panel, and you have to remove all 4 of them, and then it'll rock downwards just enough that you can get a screwdriver in there, and you have to press down on these 2 rubber grommets with the head of your screwdriver to pop them out of the holes that are right there. Then the panel comes off and you can access the spark plug. Alright, I had to move it over here to the bar. I took the spark plug out right here, and what I'm going to do is put just a little bit of two-stroke oil down here into the cylinder, because this thing's been sitting for 15 years and it's all dry. Every piece of rubber that's in there is probably dry. So I'm just going to put the littlest amount of two-stroke oil in there that I can and give it a couple of pulls without this on, so that it can't actually ignite, and that way it'll loosen up or lubricate everything in there that should be lubricated, since it's been basically sitting here brand new for 15 years. It's not really been here. I've only had it for 2 years, but the last owner bought it new in '04 and only used it once. Luckily he did drain all of the gasoline out of it, so there shouldn't be any carburetor problems, and the spark plug looks good too. I don't anticipate any problems, but we're just going to make sure everything is freshly oiled before we actually put gas in it and give it a pull to run. We're back to the sawhorse for a test pull. Feels like it has a lot of compression. We'll see in a minute. I've got my test tank filled up with water, which is really just a garbage can, and I made sure that the water was filled over the top of the water pickup on the bottom of the outboard. It doesn't have screens on the side of the lower unit like most outboards has. It has a water pickup that's mounted like facing downward. So a little bit of extra water in the can to keep it running. The next thing I've done is mix some two-stroke gas combo. I mixed it a little bit thick, a little bit more oil than it should for a normal 50-to-1 ratio, but that's because I want to make sure that it runs right since it's been sitting for a while, and if it smokes a little bit extra because it's burning more oil, then that's probably okay for the first few minutes, kind of like a break-in period on a new two-stroke motor. Pretty good. I'm happy with that. I didn't run it to full throttle, of course, because I didn't want the water to splash out of the can, but 15 years of no use, and it starts on the second try. I am happy with that, and I'm going to have some fun with that this summer. And then I'm going to hang it back on my wall when I'm not using it. I do have a little John boat that my coworker dropped off, and it's a 10-footer. It'll fit in the back of my truck, so I've got something to put it on. So we're going to take it and explore some little lakes and streams this summer. All right, stay tuned for more of these, I guess.